And now I heard that we're going to make some muffins.
We are going to make some cornmeal muffins, except they're not really going to be muffins because we're going to make them into little mini loaves.
Mini loaves.
Mini loaves.
I always
yes.
wondered what that would look like. Wow.
This is a recipe that can be either sweet or savory, and by sweet I mean more with sugar and fruit, and savory would have not quite as sweet, and it would have maybe some herbs like sage or thyme. And actually sage goes very well with blueberries, so you could put blueberries in there too, or you could put in corn. So corn muffins could have corn in them. So actually whole kernel corn. So but we're going to go with the blueberries, and since we have still those wonderful blueberries from High Hope's Orchard, and I think we'll just get right started.
Okay, great.
Now this is kind of a healthy recipe. It's got some whole wheat flour, it's got honey, and we're going to use yogurt and stone ground cornmeal. So first thing we want to do is we're preheating the oven to 425 because this being a quick bread needs to have that burst of heat to make it rise. So we have that, and we're gonna stir together the cornmeal, which is 1 cup that I measured out. The flour. Now this recipe it says use a whole cup of whole wheat flour. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit with about 1/2 cup of all-purpose unbleached flour and using white whole wheat flour.
Okay.
So, stirring it all up to loosen up the flour. A tablespoon of baking powder, and that does sort of seem like a lot of baking powder, but with the cornmeal and the whole wheat flour, it can use a little help with the rising. So, there's a tablespoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a little bit of salt, about 1/2 teaspoon. Now I've got 3 tablespoons of butter in that pan if you want to turn that on so we can melt it.
3 tablespoons of butter in the pan.
This recipe calls for yogurt or buttermilk, and those are 2 ingredients that you can sort of use interchangeably.
Oh.
So if you don't have buttermilk, and sometimes people don't, you can just feel free to use your yogurt. So we need a cup of yogurt. All right, so I've got a cup of yogurt. Now if you were making a cake or something else, probably more like a cake, if a coffee cake or a chocolate yogurt cake, if you had vanilla yogurt or a flavored yogurt, you could use that as well. So 2 large eggs. Ooh. These are nice fresh eggs from our chickens. So 2 beaten eggs. A 1/2 cup of milk, which I have measured out. Mix that together. Then the yogurt. And 2 tablespoons of honey. Now, if you wanted to use a different kind of syrup, you could, or you could use a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. You could use maple syrup. And you got the butter?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that goes in last. You can just pour it right in. Blueberries. And this is kind of a personal preference. You can put in as many or as few as you'd like. I'm thinking that looks pretty good.
Maybe
Dry ingredients. We've got the wet ingredients. And these are really pretty quick recipes to make because they're just a quick bread. It's, there's no rising time, there's no yeast involved, and it's just basically stirring everything together. And I'm just going to wipe the little loaf pan down with some shortening so it doesn't stick. It's about 2/3 full. You don't want to get it too full, otherwise it'll just spill out over the top. But you can see I can feel that the baking powder is working already because that's getting very light and already in the middle there. So that's pretty much ready to go. So they'll bake for like 15-20 minutes at 425 degrees.
So about 10 or 15 minutes has passed?
Probably 15-20, so
15 to 20.
I'm saying they're good. And they're nice and brown, and I think they're good to go.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us at the Inn of the Tart and Fox for another episode of Eat In with Adam and John and special guest Meg. Join us at our website and be sure to catch our upcoming episodes. Thanks.